Helo, agus fàilte bhlá ormh go trí seascad in programme BBC Alba ha dul go crea scéalach in bharrachd an sil spòrs na Halba. Is me Iona Ballantyne is hanbí tollaigh ra go bhfuil iar-cheann-suidhe Hocaidh Alba Kaz Cuthbert colourrooms in stiùidio. Our programme na heiche noch han chéglé Sarah Jane Ferguson a géisgéin mar a haid a bhí a ionndrainn spòrs aice camanachd, agus cluinntinn bhfuil sàr-reisear na cruinne an sàithir-cuibhle Sammi Kinghorn. Kaz, welcome to 360.
Thank you very much for having me.
And it's not just you, because there's a little person inside of you.
There is. I come in pairs now. This is my wee baby.
And not long till you're due.
Yep, 6.5 weeks till he comes out, so we're having a wee boy.
Oh, congratulations. And then maybe a future hockey player?
Well, he better be a superstar or else I've just let him down, haven't I?
His mum's footsteps.
Oh, no pressure.
Yeah.
No pressure.
Yeah. We'll have him on in like a long time away.
A few years time, yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, for you, you have been involved in sport for so long, 163 caps, 16 goals, started in 2010. I mean, not a bad CV.
Yes, I love it. And if you want to go way, way back, I started when I was 7. So you go down to the local club in Cuideachd, and then from there I just loved being on the pitch, love hanging out with my teammates, particularly enjoyed hanging out with the girls as you get a wee bit older. And do you know what, you've got friends for life now, and I've still got some of my closest pals that are hockey players, and such a great game.
So were you just hooked from the start when you were 7, or did you try out other sports?
Yeah, no, we tried everything. Me and my brother, we used to go down to the hockey, the swimming, the tennis, golf, all of it. We gave it a good go, and then from doing everything, I mean, we were always busy, and my mum was always shipping us about. As we got a bit older, then you started to siphon out the ones you actually were better at, or you enjoyed a bit more, and hockey just was right up the top there. So,
did you ever think then, when you were 7 and kind of growing up and going through school and playing after school, that you could make a career out of it? You could play, I mean, take you around the world, and now also work with Scottish hockey?
No, absolutely not. I think at that age you're just loving it, and that to me is what it's all about. Engagement at that age. You just want the kids to come out and have a great time, and wind and hail and all sorts, and you grow in character because of that. But no, I think it dawns on you maybe later on, probably when you hit your teens, you're kind of thinking, okay, I could go somewhere with this, and really kind of, yeah, the travelling the world is one of the best bits about it, and the meeting of different people and seeing different places, it's class.
You must have some amazing memories throughout the years.
Yeah, oh, hundreds.
Any you can share?
I don't know. Do you know, I love travelling. I'm a traveller by heart, and I've been to some phenomenal countries. Delhi in India was just, it's just the culture and the lifestyle is so different to what you know. So it's so eye-opening. Like, it's lovely to see, and we've been to South Africa, and we've been to Rio as well. So these places are phenomenal, and places you can only dream of going if you've got to kind of fork out and pay yourself to get there. Whereas I got to travel with 18 of my pals to go and play a game I love as well. So it's class.
And that's the thing with Delhi. I mean, that was your first Commonwealth Games as well, so that's probably quite special.
Yeah, it really was. Made even more special because my brother, it was his first Commonwealth Games too. So we tag along with each other. He's an older brother, so it's not like I'm over competitive and want to be better than him. But if he's going, I'm coming too.
Who was the most successful on that trip?
On that trip.
Or in hockey?
Oh, in hockey in general. See, it pains me to say, but I would have to say my brother is a better player than me, and he also has a few more caps than me, so he's closer to the 200 mark. So, do
you think he would say the opposite, that you're better than him?
I think he'd say I've maybe done better off the pitch than him. But well, he's definitely excelled on the pitch.
Well, that's the thing with retirement now. You are, like we just said before, you are working with Scottish hockey. I mean, how was retirement for you? Did you know at the time that it was the right time to do it and move into this role?
Yeah, I think it was probably due coming. I knew I was coming towards the end of my career, so to finish it in 2019, winning gold at the Europeans in Glasgow, was just class. That, and we talk about memories, that goes down as one of my all-time favourites now. We had a brilliant team, we had a brilliant support staff, and to do it at home in Glasgow with all the staff and all your family and friends there, that's what it's about to me, to show them the 20 years of hard work, and this is what it comes down to. But yeah, I knew that was going to be a closing point for me in the field, and I'm just so passionate about hockey that an opportunity opened up to get involved within Scottish hockey, and so I just asked a few people and then grabbed it, and I'm actually really enjoying it. I'm learning a lot about governance of sport and all of the admin side of it, you know, the more stuff that you don't understand as a player. But I'm enjoying learning about it, because if I have a better understanding, then again I can just strive to push the sport even further forwards.
And probably stuff that you didn't realise was so important when you were a player that was going on behind the scenes.
Yeah, as a player you just complain. I want this, why have we not got this? But actually there's a few steps that need to be taken before things get put in place. So it's, like I say, good learning, and I'm still close enough with a lot of the players, so I can filter some of that back just to keep them at bay.
And just for you personally, I mean, through this pandemic you announced your retirement, but you've also been working full-time as a physiotherapist. How has that been for you?
Yeah, so I normally have been a full-time physio throughout my hockey career, and then I normally work privately, and that all got shut down with the pandemic kicking off. So I actually went back into work for the NHS in April. What I can say is I'm in no way any of these heroes that they put out, because I was kept well away from the wards, and they siphoned me off into areas that I can help use my skills to the best of my ability. But it's been again a real eye-opener to be back in the NHS. It's been 9 years since I've worked in there, and credit where it's due, these guys are unbelievable, and the stress that they've been put under over the last year, you couldn't pay me enough to take on what they've done. So hopefully I've helped a little bit, if not lighten the load on other aspects of physiotherapy. But yeah, fair play to them. They're just getting stuck in.
You certainly have, but thank you very much. We will hear more from you shortly too. Sarah Jane Ferguson agus a maithir scibe camanachd bharrachd bhain nuair a Hocaidh nach rá gén sa scíras an ráid a fuarach. Fódar sin ha camanachd nan ban fas go mór, rút ha tors in tuavis tolachas do Sarah Jane.
Hocaidh camanachd Sarah Jane Ferguson ora a spòrs a cluicheadair, nu do huaidí amach go rá a sinnar a cluicheadh an spòrs.
Well, before I went to school, I found out that my grandpa had played shinty, and I thought, well, that's something I want to do. I hadn't heard many women playing shinty. This was 21 years ago this year, actually, and I hadn't really heard anybody playing shinty before, so I thought, I want to give that a go. So when I started primary school, I say 21 years ago now, I went in the first day and I said, look, I want to play shinty. My grandpa plays shinty. Is there any reason why I can't? And no, I said, that's fine, you can start playing shinty, so haven't stopped since.
As dewigi agus a maithid club a háisce gus dainile a bhrosnacha an spòrs a chluicheadh. Chai Sarah Jane go bodan ní chin delang scianach, nu the huaidí cuireadh, trainach, cála dua.
Well, when I was younger, I played for the primary school I went to, but I lived down in Bendaloch, near Oban. So I played in primary school, and then when I got to high school, there wasn't really anything, but we managed to get a teacher to get us involved in the game. So we managed to get a women's team started then in high school. And at that point, I played for Glenorchy, because they had a women's team. That's the only local team there was. There wasn't many at that time. This is 10, 12 years ago. There wasn't really anything about. And at the same time as I started playing Glenorchy, Skye had formed, but I was still living down here, so I wasn't really involved at that point. And then me and my mum started our own team down in Oban to get more people playing, because once I left high school, there wasn't anything for them. So I thought, why don't we just start our own team? Because at that point, Glenorchy had folded. And then I was still playing for them, and I ended up playing against Skye. I was still playing for the Lorne Ladies at the time that me and Mum had started, and I ended up playing against Skye. They came down to Oban to play against us, and they found out that I was living in Skye at Salmore at the point, and they said, would you want to come and play for us? You don't have to play, you can just start training. And that was 2016, and I have stuck with them since.
Ha nopa the games do Cuideachd son cluicheadh do scibe in delang scianach, a cíalach társúil do Sarah Jane. Is he a ganneach go bhfuil iad in a scipian eile a fás na sear?
There's lots and lots of travelling involved. So I train, before COVID hit, I was training twice a week with Oban Camanachd. So they play the top Premier men's division. And I asked, would you mind if I could train with them? So they're quite happy. So I went in and trained with them twice a week. And then on a Saturday, I'd leave the house 6:30, 7 in the morning to head up to Portree for a game. Or if it was a Sunday game, I'd go to wherever, Glasgow or wherever the game was. The closest game I ever got was Fort William. Oh, it's great, because they're obviously training at the same sort of standard that I'm training at, which has helped me a lot. I would say training with one of the top men's teams, I would say that's really helped my game. And then bringing that to the women's game, I think that's really helped, and it's becoming more competitive, the women's game as well. More and more teams are improving and improving, so you've got to keep your game up. Really, it has really come on. The speed of the game, the skill of the game, before, well, when you're in primary school, a lot of the girls would just, sometimes they'd run away from the ball, they'd be a wee bit scared. But no, if you watch a women's game compared to a man's game, you wouldn't know the difference.
But it's sorry to about the Sarah Jane Cuthbert Valerie Rishal a Hocaidh and the Dabilas in the Giag. A Joey can jelling skianach Cawl and they badgenach and blean their onishin. 16
we lost to Lochaber. 17 we won it against Lochaber, so that was amazing to get it back off them. And then we lost it to Badenoch, and then we got it back off Badenoch. One of these things, we seem to get it back. We don't seem to win it the first time. Well, we dealt with it differently this time. The first time we played when Badenoch won, we just travelled that day. So I travelled to, after work, I travelled up to Skye. And then we travelled from Skye down to, because the game was on their home pitch. So we travelled down from Skye that day. So it was a very long day of travelling. So also that impacted our game a wee bit as well. Not that had a big impact, but it did impact our game travelling. So we prepared differently this year. We thought, well, that 2019, we thought, why don't we stay down near the pitch the night before? So we all travelled separately, or they got a minibus, and I also travelled myself up. And we stayed the night before so we could relax, we could be together as a team, we could prepare ourselves, we could chill out, there wasn't any thingy, and then we could, in the morning, there was a pitch near where we stayed. So that means we could have a wee practice together and get a wee game plan going, and it's a lot more relaxed. I think that really helped as well because we weren't nervous, we're just going to go out and win. That was it. There was nothing else about it.
Was is an camanachd fichid sa hun either Cuideachd nu theran at COVID. But she'll neck about dyddif done a cluicheadair of a fiaching, the cumal foot tron ghlasadh.
I don't live in Skye, so I don't get to see the girls weekly or even like during the week and that. I only get to see them at weekends. So we got to play in January, we got to play last year the Glengarry host an indoor tournament in Fort William. So that was the last time we all got together to play and we all got to see each other. And then the announcement came out and we were absolutely gutted because we wanted to win everything this year. We wanted to get the league back, we wanted to keep the Camanachd Cup. We were so motivated and it just felt like it was just all stopped. After we won the first cup of the season, everything just stopped. It's hard. It's very hard because you've spent 21 years, 20, whatever many years you spent. Like I spent 21 years. So other players spent more or less time preparing for these moments, and then it just stops, and you think, "Wow, what do I do now?" So I haven't been able to go to any training. I know at the end of last year they opened up for training for people to go along. But with my job working at a primary school, I didn't want to risk mixing with other people, and I certainly wasn't going to drive up and down to Skye for training. And I wasn't going to risk going to train with the men just until things ease a bit and we get further forward with it. So I haven't actually been to any physical shinty training. I've been doing my own thing at the house. I've been going out for runs, cycles, walking, but not much else you can do, really.
Call the iar-cheann-suidhe nela. Ha Sarah Jane idverin gnu the hiken naam for a vele camanachd Cuideachd. Is je skippen a h-amasan reipe, is son een nahezen.
Oh, it'd be great because you'd finally get to see people again. That's the bit you miss the most, is the seeing people. We miss the shinty, but it's the seeing the people and getting the crack with everybody and that sort of thing. So it would be great to get on the pitch again. Like, and we know this season, if we got to that point, it wouldn't be competitive because it wouldn't be fair to everybody because not everybody's going to be at the same fitness level. The skills going to have dropped a wee bit because we've all been out for a year. So it'd be good just to get on the pitch now. We hit about have some friendlies and it would make a big difference because then you know that next season, that's year you're ready to go again. We just want to keep going where we are. We don't want to drop where we are. We want to keep going again and regain the cups. We want to bring more girls through because we've got a good system going on in Skye. We've got like a development team, a second division, and a first division. We want to keep that going because at some point we're all going to retire in the first division, and if we don't have the next generation coming through, the team will just fold. So that's the sort of goals we're aiming for, to keep as many girls into shinty as we can.
Kaz, a lot of similarities between shinty and hockey.
There is indeed, yep. Like I said, it's just a bit of a violent game of hockey is shinty, and you couldn't pay me enough to be the goalkeeper, so fair credit to Sarah Jane.
A game you wish you'd maybe played or tried?
Would love to, would absolutely love to have given it a good shot. I reckon I'd probably do a bit of damage on a shinty pitch.
That's what we need, that's what's needed. I mean, in terms of what Sarah Jane was saying, throughout this time, she and so many others just miss sport so much and are just working so hard to get there. I know better days are coming, it's coming soon, but just now it's still hard.
It's very hard, and what she touched on, it's the missing of people. I think we're quite a sociable society in general in Scotland, and I know for a fact that the girls on the hockey pitch are just missing being around each other a couple of times a week, and it's a let off of steam. You know, you get away from work, you get away from other things that are going on in life, and you, for a couple hours twice a week at training, you just get to enjoy the company of your pals. So I can completely understand with where she's at, and hopefully we'll be up and running. Well, we're nearly there.
We're getting there.
Yeah.
Fingers crossed soon. But I mean, what Sarah Jane was saying as well, it was nice to hear her talking about training with the men's team and taking a lot from that and learning from that and putting it into her game. I mean, is that something, even with your brother, did you discuss different tactics or different styles of play that you could then utilise?
Yeah, definitely. You just set the standard up here, you know, it's just that little bit higher. And I would regularly ask men's teams if I could go along to training sessions just to increase my speed of thought, because I can't run as fast as them, so I've got to be smarter than them. I've got to cut lines, I've got to make tackles earlier, you know, so you just have to be that little bit sharper. So I loved it. I used to love playing with the boys. Just made me always, I was knackered by the end of it, which is great.
Knackered, but very tactical.
Yes, yeah.
It was, I mean, for Sarah Jane as well, I'm sure you can relate to a lot of it in terms of growing the game and the importance of that. Can you relate a lot of that to Scottish hockey in terms of raising the profile?
100%. For shinty, you know, like I said, it's a great game, and I would love if there was more teams in Glasgow, but she's trying to develop her club system and spread it all over the country, and hockey's the same. We're very strong across the Central Belt. We have districts in North and South as well, and clubs that are still going, but the difficulty is just getting people involved, and how do you spread the word of hockey. So it's hugely important for people like Sarah Jane who want to go out there and start clubs up and just get everybody involved and knowing about it. That's the biggest thing, and you can get people down having fun. They'll bring their pals and they'll bring their pals, and it just grows arms and legs. So yeah, hockey's the same. We're continually trying to make sure we branch out to all areas of Scotland, and because you'll find some of your most talented players come from all corners of the country. So yeah, it's really important.
It is important to note as well, because I suppose hockey can be seen as maybe more of a private school sport, but you're someone who's completely gone against that.
Yes, I am. We had a great club set up though down in Greenock, and that is where it starts. The clubs, the junior setups, the junior competitions. Yeah, we as a hockey community know that the private schools are a big entity of our sport, but credit to it, it's brilliant. We love it. You know, it thrives in the private schools. But we do want to make sure that we're tapping into girls and boys all over the country. So it's important to take what we've got and build on that, and make sure that everyone gets equal opportunities, because yeah, there's so many kids out there that I think would be great at hockey.
Well, they need to see it to be able to do it, and one way to see it is through media. I mean, we are seeing games are being streamed recently, but a lot still does need to be done in Scotland, doesn't it?
Yeah, there's huge campaigns. I think Hockey Ireland have a sort of see it to believe it kind of campaign, and GB Hockey in particular are great at really pushing our sport forward. But you know, these are big entities. GB Hockey is huge compared to Scottish hockey and even Ireland hockey. So we need to continue to have that streaming on the telly, because that's what everybody watches these days. And you know, my husband, he's a huge football fan, but he says if Scotland men's football team were playing a friendly, it would be on that telly. So why are our home nations not on the telly when they're playing? So there has been some great coverage from BT Sports and BBC iPlayer and stuff like that, but it just needs to continue, because the more you put it out there, the more people see it. Netball Super League's your prime example. I love watching the girls playing the Super League. The Sirens are doing really well this season, and I'm just a keen follower of all sports, and you get people just picking it up because they've seen it on the telly. So it's hugely important.
Absolutely. Well, hopefully we will see hockey, especially Scottish hockey, on TV soon.
Soon, we're working on it. There's more streaming coming along. Our poor media guy at the Scottish Hockey Office is trying his best, and yeah, we're looking to really promote it, not only in the national front but through the clubs as well. So trying to get more games videoed and televised.
Brilliant.
Hopefully.
We'll make sure we'll tune in. Chará Sammi Kinghorn and dildríocha cosna gan an sèithir-cuibhle nuair a thosaigh charách coimhead Cuideachd cultach riahéin. Sin ches luia Edentel agus an rain orpa agus ha nisha cur roipa noch go gur eile ag na gaimchin Paralympic.
Lorach réisir sèithir-cuibhle alpanach Sammi Kinghorn na spòrs, as jo vi túpas nu de bhain na báidge, agus gan ile is dat, von nuair sin.
I guess it all started after I had my accident when I was 14 and I was left paralysed from the waist down, and I was just kind of looking for a new lease of life or what I was going to do with myself. And I wasn't thinking about a career or anything when I first started. It was literally just, I enjoyed sport before, I enjoyed meeting people, and I wanted to get that same feeling again. And that's literally how it all began. I went to a thing called the Spinal Unit Games, and while I was there, I just seen every sport, and I can believe how many sports could be adapted as well, which just absolutely blew my mind. And that's where I seen wheelchair racing for the first time. And for me, when I first saw it, I just thought, that looks really cool, looks really fast, looks really sleek. And I wasn't at all thinking this is going to be my career, this is going to be my living. It was just like, this might be a fun thing to do to meet other people like-minded.
Sé bhí Hocaidh Alba ag na geimichin choláis an 2015, uine na cainneach na séir de Sammi sa dríoch.
It was still to this day. Like, I've won medals now on a major stage. I've won medals in home games in London, which was amazing. Like, I can't obviously ever say that wasn't incredible. It was, to break a world record in a stadium in front of 30,000 people is incredible. But Glasgow there's something else. Like, it's still so difficult. Like, I was like crying on the start line. Like, I was so glad I had like a full visor on, because it just, that whatever country you race in, most of the people in the stand are going to be from that country, from the nationality. And being in Glasgow and having I had 30 odd people there from my family back home that had all come up and watched me. And when everyone can make it and everyone can be there, and like, I came fifth, but I only wanted to make the final. I didn't even know if I'd make the final, and I made the final, and I came fifth in the final. And when my name was called on that start line, and the whole place just erupted. Yeah, I'm never ever going to feel anything like that ever again, I don't think. And yeah, for my first games as well, it was like, I was like, yeah, I want this feeling again. This is definitely what I want to feel again. So it definitely spurred me on.
Bhana háisií, ha Sammi is clárín an dul is an ringárpa a bhrisig, is í a curráipe h-amasan gus urtas a dhéanú roch gach réis.
Our life runs in 4-year cycles, so apart from obviously this year, but normally runs in 4-year cycles, and everything's so well planned. So you do a race, and you've been building up for 4 years for the World Champs, for the Paralympics, and you turn up, you race, and it's, oh my God, crossing that line and knowing you've done it is the best feeling in the world. Watching your flag go up on a podium is incredible. And then you go home, you celebrate for a few weeks, and then it's like, right, what's the next goal? It's quite weird. You just you don't forget, you never forget what you've achieved. And yeah, obviously that comes with the pressures for the next game and the encouragement and the belief in yourself for the next game also. But yeah, it's just one of them things you go, right, next one, bigger and better things to achieve. When I get selected for a team and I get my team kit sent, I put it on, I'm just this little girl from the Scottish borders. I don't know if I should have the GB flag on my chest. It's still really strange. I still feel so out of my depth. I've just stumbled across this and I happen to be quite good. I still do find it very strange when people are because I'll say people are well, what do you want to do? What do you want to achieve? And I'm I want to be the best in the world. And people are like, well, you are. And I'm like, oh, because I don't feel like I am. I know that I can get better. I know I can get faster. So it's just, yeah, I find it really strange to know what I've achieved.
Ag na geimichin Paralympic an na Rio an na 2016, dún si rééisir a dúhas fan a bhí a farpis ag an iad a sáirte sa dríochcaige.
My dream was to go to Rio, was to go to Paralympic Games, and I think I just hadn't realised or had a chance to reflect on the enormity of what that meant. This is the pinnacle of my career. It's the very top level that I can possibly reach as a Paralympic Games. And I was so excited, got my kit, flew over there. And I remember the morning of the race just being like, oh my, wait, I've actually got to do, oh my goodness, I've actually got to do this now. And it was very different racing at Paralympic Games than it is racing in any other race, because you start to become aware that all the girls that I'm racing against, they all really want and need that medal. And it becomes more apparent as you get older as well that it's, they need to pay their bills. They need to, and yes, it's a sport and people see it as a hobby, but it's our careers. And I went into Rio thinking that I wasn't good enough or I wasn't on the same level as these girls. And I remember spewing all morning. I was so ill, getting in the car room, just being like, oh my goodness, out into the stadium and just felt like I'd inhaled the whole Sahara Desert. At one point I was like, I can't remember how to breathe. How do you breathe? Like, it was so overwhelming. And I didn't want to leave Rio with the experience that I'd had. I didn't want to leave it thinking that I'd been overwhelmed or that I didn't think I could do it. And every single time I stepped in that start line, I still really idolized every other girl in the start line. I still do, but to the point that I didn't think that I was anywhere near on their level. And after I'd done the 800, I got like a 6-second PB, and I got my first ever European record. And 800 meters is not normally my event, but I really gave it my all. And after that moment, I remember coming home and just being like, right, I do deserve to be there, and I need to learn to cope with that mentally, which I hadn't done before Rio. Rio was, the moment where I was like, it's a big deal. That's a really big deal.
Sé bewnor ag na Paralympics yn príomh amasach Sammi, leis a hopad hásta córta dí san spòrs.
I would love to be, Paralympic gold medalist. Of course, that's I would be doing. There's no point in doing my sport if that's not what I really, truly, really want to do. I have little small goals, but I'd love to be the first person in my classification to go under 16 seconds per 100 meters. That's been a dream and a goal for a while now, and there's a few girls in my class that are getting pretty close now. So it'd be really cool to be able to dip under that mark, under 16 seconds. So that's kind of what I'm aiming for just now, anyways, personally. It makes me smile. It makes me it blows my mind. Like, it does blow my mind. Especially like London for me, I went into hoping, almost expecting to win the 200 meters going in as world champion. And then when I won the 100 meters, that was just completely unexpected. I'd never beaten some of the girls in 100 meters in that race before. And that feeling of just being like, I am on top of my game right now is the most incredible feeling. And I'm really proud of what I've achieved and what I've done. And I've got an incredible group of people about me though, that I know that I would not have achieved any of the things without all the support. But it's nice to be able to look back now and just be like, I'm doing well. I am where I am because I've worked really, really hard, and I will continue to work really, really hard until my dream is just come true.
Kaz, Sammi's story is remarkable. I mean, it always leaves me speechless whenever I hear about her or see her in action. She's really turned things into a massive positive, hasn't she?
Yeah, she's such an inspiration, and she's such a lovely character as well. She's just got a great beaming personality, so you're kind of drawn to her. I know of Sammi's story, and I know of what she's achieved, and like I say, she's just such an inspiring person. And
completely turned things around and found this sport by chance.
Yeah, but it just shows you, when really things are at their worst, or you're really low, sport can just be such a outlet for people, and it's for all people. You don't have to be a world champion to enjoy the benefits of sport. So it just shows you how important it is in our lives, and to get people out of bad places, sport can be really great at turning you around.
Exactly, the power of sport. We have spoken about it so many times in the show, and that is just an amazing example of that, and also the resilience that's involved in her sport as well. I mean, all these tournaments to keep going, and I love what she was talking about. She wants to be the best in the world, and people are like, yeah, you are.
Yeah. I know. I mean, it must be hard for her to continue to set goals, because I mean, she'll have things that she always still wants to achieve. She's talking about her beating the time record and stuff like that, but it must be hard when you're the top, the cream of the crop. But it's constant, and I mentioned that it's very difficult for those at the moment who thought they were going to a Tokyo Olympics last year, and it's been put off for another year, and people just have to change their time frames and reevaluate and constantly setting goals. But if you're good enough and you're strong enough, you'll hit them. So it's all about timing.
Yeah, absolutely. Talking about the Olympics and the Paralympics, Sammi was talking there about how she felt and kind of how her mindset was in Rio. Can you draw comparisons? Have you ever experienced that kind of that mental side of it where you have to keep going, but it's hard.
Yeah. I mean, it's like what you're saying, you talk about resilience, but in sport it is half of it's mental, half of it's the physical side of it. So you really have to be switched on up here to achieve at such a high level. I can't honestly say I've ever had to put myself in an Olympic stadium, which I would love to have done. But yeah, there's always highs and lows in sport, and there's going to be often more lows than highs, because the highs are really, when you're winning and when you're at the top of your game, which you can't maintain the whole time. So you will hit a lot of lows, and it's but that mental resilience is what sets you up for life. You can get through career disappointments or family disappointments or life disappointments because you've been through it in sport. So that constant roller coaster, it just keeps going. Yeah,
there's so many attributes from sport that you can put into everything. I mean, for you now being retired, you've obviously got baby on the way, which is incredible. I mean, is that something that you consciously thought about when you were playing, that you do want to start a family, but you've also got this career that you have, the sporting career, which is so important to you?
Yeah, you definitely have to consider it as a female in sport. You can't take a year out and then still be expecting to be at the peak of your game, or if you do, you certainly have to plan it. I've got some very supportive family, and my husband in particular, who let me ride out my career for as long as I possibly could and achieving everything I wanted to achieve, ticking all my boxes. And then, now this is when we'll have the family, and we'll turn him into a superstar as well. But yeah, you definitely have to have that, and you have to have that extra planning if you want to have a family in sport.
And then you will kind of have baby, and then you do want to get back to fitness, don't you, and back to club game?
I would love to return to play a club hockey, but will not be telling my husband that. So no, I'm still affiliated with my club as coach, and I kind of feel if I'm down there coaching, I might as well be on the pitch helping out as well. So I would love to be back fit for September, which is the start of our season. But listen, I've never had a child before. We'll see how it all goes. It could be pie in the sky, and I could be one of those doting mums that doesn't want to leave its side. So we'll see.
Yeah, enjoying the sidelines.
Yeah.
So September, is that your kind of goal looking ahead? This is when we're going to be back, and hopefully back on the pitch, whether you're on the side or actually playing?
Yeah, so post-COVID, that's our target now. Our governing body worked really hard. There was hundreds of meetings pre-Christmas actually that we put in place plans and timelines for when we needed to be back on the pitch to try and have any resemblance of a season this year. And actually, because of all the planning that the guys did at Scottish Hockey, we were very quick in calling the season, so we just never got started this year. But in a way, it's been quite good because the clubs know where they stand, everyone knows where they're at with hockey, so we're trying to get back on the pitch for some social hockey over the summer, which would be great just to see everyone and get people back running. And the focus is September this year, get our leagues back up and running and get everybody back competitive hockey.
Oh, brilliant. Well, I'm sure you're really looking forward to it.
Can't wait. I can't actually wait.
Oh, great. Well, we can't wait either. And thank you so much for joining us this week, and best of luck with baby.
Thank you very much for having me.
Well, sin air son program eile, yn ahyrus bu polynigdol yr as colorwm sy'n stiùidio. Cynnig eich hasyn y torsiwca program yw'r hwyl y siachgain, smar sy'n jan cynsioch gyfel sy'n lental ar YouTube, agos cwtsioch can program y geirig acyn ar BBC iPlayer. Mae had dat sy'n by'n dol an y sèl spòrs yn ban, bu sy'n y bryn mi geir yn sio ar 3 siasgyd. Mar sy'n leif yn drast.